Hey, what's up, New Zealand and the world? My name is Lucas Lawmans. Welcome back to Kiwi Voice, my political commentary and worldview channel where I do my best to take a look at things that the mainstream media may not. And today we are taking a good old look at New Zealand's favourite traffic light system. A system that was brought in on the 15th of December 2021, designed to segregate the unvaccinated and vaccinated from each other to keep everybody safe. We'll have a quick look at the actual red, orange and green lights and what the basic criteria we've been told is around moving between those. Have a quick look at what areas are and what levels as of today, Wednesday the 13th of January, as well as the current COVID situation and how it may relate to these alert levels. Without further ado, let's chuck this bad boy up on the screen. So this is the traffic light system in a nutshell. It comes from covid19.govt.nz, that wonderful yellow and white striped beast. Focus briefly on the key considerations that we're told within this framework as to why certain regions would be in red, orange and green. Now in red, we're advised that it means action is needed to protect the health system. And there's unsustainable hospitalisations occurring, the health system's completely fucked, and we basically need to limit everything, but really only for the unvaccinated. Moving down to orange, what they're telling us is that community transmission rife, but not out of control. Pressure is on the health system, some pressure, but the health system can manage. There's an increasing risk to the at-risk population, which I would believe they mean the elderly and immunocompromised. In that situation, we're only a little bit fucked. If we move down to green, this is where all things go, basically, because it's green. Limited community transmission, hospitalisations are manageable, so you would think not many. Health system ready to respond, so everything's in good shape. But essentially, the unvaccinated are still locked out of society. So, taking all of that into account, let's take a look at our current situation. We'll chuck that map up there, and as you'll see, 95% of the country, or 90%, whatever you want to look at, majority of the country is in orange, and Northland, right up the far north, the hottest part of the country, is in red. So why is that? Let's delve into a little bit more data. I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. As you all know, there's a shitload of data that we can actually get way deep into. If we jump into covid19.govt.nz, and the quick dashboard there will give us this information as of the 13th of Jan 2022. 34 in hospital, 28 new community cases today, which adds to a total of 11,183 total cases in the outbreak. We'll refer back to that shortly. 13 border cases today. So that's the snapshot of where we sit by the numbers today. If you go further down page, click into the stats.govt.nz COVID-19 portal. There's a bunch of interesting information in here. It's letting us know. Remember that 11,183 cases in the outbreak, that number there, that's plastered on that front dashboard on covid19.govt.nz. Well, it turns out only 1,005 of those are actually active. So, 10,000 or so, what do we got? 10,178 are recovered. So that's where we sit there. Right. So you've tried to digest all of that, correct? Me, the key elements are when we refer back to, remember, red, orange, green. Red is unsustainable hospitalisations. So the only region in red is Northland as we currently stand today. And when we've got 34 people in hospital across the country, Northland has two active cases. Why is it in red? This question has been bandied around by a number of different people, but it's not promoted heavily in the mainstream media as you would suspect. It seems to be an element of the government doing whatever the hell they want, regardless of giving you some kind of assurance that if we do things correctly, keep people safe and comply, then we'll be able to move down these alert levels. So that's my first question. The rest of the country is in orange. So the guidelines were that there's an increasing risk to the at-risk population. There's significant community transmission. There's pressure on the health system, however it can manage. Now, I'd hardly call 34 people in hospital, 1,005 active cases, all controlled. I wouldn't call that having pressure on the health system. So again, why are we in orange? Another question is, all of those cases are up north. We're a two-island nation. The South Island has absolutely nothing going on whatsoever. So why are we in orange? Questions, questions, questions. And ones that don't get asked enough, in my opinion. The damage that is done from the restrictions that are placed on businesses at these level of orange for either vaccinated or unvaccinated people. Of course, the societal restrictions that are placed on gatherings, specifically large gatherings, indoor, outdoor, doesn't really matter, kind of completely ignored in this situation. We're an island nation of 5 million people. Comparing to other parts of the world, we've got it bloody fantastic in terms of, if you're basing it off just these numbers, there's a whole lot of other stuff around that. Really, why do we have these restrictions? The whole country should be in green. There's mask mandates absolutely everywhere. That is never talked about as well. So how are they doing this? Other than the fact that obviously they're just doing whatever they like and people seem to comply with it. Well, the side note is, on the traffic light system, let's chuck that back up there, and the rhetoric that comes from the podium is that these are only some elements of what they'll use to decide what alert levels will come into play. They're including vaccination rates, and local and regional lockdowns can still be used. Now consider we've got a 92%, what have we got here? Have I written that down? We've got a 92% nationwide vaccination rate according to COVID-19govt.nz, which I would question, but based on the government guidance, we've got a 92% vaccination rate. Can't really argue that we've got limited vaccination coverage, specifically in Northland, even though it's down at 70-something% when I last checked. But across the country, 92%. So how can you justify putting these restrictions on people? I'm just wondering how many people within that 92% are asking the question now that they've complied, specifically the percentage that weren't keen in going through with all of this carry-on. Why did they do so when they've still got all these restrictions and they've still got the power to restrict further? Again, questions that we'll leave unanswered, and we'll leave them up to you. That's my rant for today. Thanks for tuning in once again. If you're enjoying what you're seeing and the questions that I'm asking, please, by all means, chuck a comment down below. Hit that like button. I'll reply to every comment on this channel at this stage. Share the links around far and wide. Let's get this thing blowing up. The next thing on the agenda is to look into more detail at the actual vaccine pass system that's been brought into New Zealand. I'm going to try and take that one a little bit more lighthearted, because there's nothing fun about that at all for the people that it's affecting, either jabbed or unjabbed. So we'll try and take a lighthearted look at that, so keep an eye on the channel for that one. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again real soon.